Hi, my name's Jen Snow, and I'm a licensed professional counselor for the Cognitive Behavior Institute.
And my name is Nicole Gibson, and I am also a licensed professional counselor working through the Cognitive Behavior Institute.
And we're here today to talk to you about obsessive compulsive disorder. OCD is a disorder where an individual has a set of different obsessions or compulsions. Often these have to do with orderliness, perfectionism, and things of that nature. Oftentimes these obsessions and compulsions are time consuming and very disturbing and anxiety provoking to the individual.
And I would say with that you often see impairment or impact of that in multiple areas of their life. So it could be socially, occupationally, it could be educationally. So you see the impact in many areas of their life and some disruptions due to the OCD behaviors.
There's a lot of symptoms that are associated with that disease, and there's different kinds of them out there, one of which is cleaning obsessions. In cleaning obsessions, people often have a driving fear of being contaminated, or just by something not being cleaning. This may look like obsessive hand washing to the point that sometimes hands can get raw. This can look like cleaning a house, hold item, or their house in general over and over again. There's other obsessions that come up, such as thoughts. They may not be as visible, but they may have thoughts of feared harm to themselves, fear of harm to somebody that they love. Sometimes there are thoughts that are religious or sexual, or even aggressive in nature, that are plaguing to someone, such as thoughts that they're going to hurt somebody in their family. They may not have intent to do so or desire to do so, but they have this thought that continues to recur and cause anxiety.
And there's some other ones, Jen, you mentioned a lot of them, but another one that I often think about is ones with like symmetry or ordering or numbering. So you see that a lot of times where, for example, with door handles, I've seen that with a lot of patients maybe come in and maybe express that they have to check a doorknob 5 times before they feel okay that it has been locked, which is part of combining the two symptoms of OCD, the obsessions and the compulsions. Is the obsessions is maybe a feared consequence of maybe their house getting broken into if they leave their door unlocked. So that leads to some of the compulsions as it relates to doing something to eliminate or reduce the anxiety they experience with the fear of somebody breaking into their house. So that leads to the compulsion of going over and maybe checking the door a certain amount of times, or I've heard of people that feel like something negative is going to happen if they're walking down the street and they step on a crack on the sidewalk. They feel that that's going to be an indicator of something negative happening in their life. So those seem to kind of capture some of the main ones that we see here at CBI.
Cognitive behavioral therapy, something that we know as cognitive behavioral therapists, is these individuals' desire to stop the obsessive thoughts or to repress the obsessive thoughts is actually really counterproductive. It actually increases the anxiety with them. So some of the things that we do is we teach patients coping strategies to help manage the anxiety in a healthier way. Another thing that we do is help them identify the automatic thoughts that are occurring with them, that tell them that it's likely that this feared event's going to happen. The automatic thoughts that tell them that if this feared event occurs, they're not going to be able to manage the anxiety or handle it in a healthy way. And once we've helped them identify those thoughts, we assist them in challenging them, and through challenging them, changing them through different evidence-based practices. Some of it's discussion, some of it's research to see how much validity there is to this thought. A lot of times it's behavioral experiments that they can prove to themselves one way or another that if they don't, for example, wash their hands for 5 minutes, are they going to catch a disease? And if they can tolerate the anxiety along with not washing their hands, they find out that indeed perhaps I can be okay not to continue this behavior.
Yeah, and that kind of gives rise to an area that I really like to focus on a lot with OCD patients is exposure and response or ritual prevention. And so that focuses on two different elements to OCD. So the exposure-based practices is really focusing on some of the obsessions and some of the thoughts, and the ritual or the response prevention focuses more on the compulsions and the behaviors. So typically how this looks is we work with a client first to kind of gain some background into their history of anxiety. What are some of these external, internal cues for anxiety symptoms? What are some of the safety behaviors? What are some things maybe they do to lessen the anxiety they experience at times that they're confronting this feared stimuli or something in their environment? And then we kind of go into what are their feared consequences of confronting that. And so a lot of times we find that they overestimate the probability of running into that fear consequence, or kind of rank the danger of that situation higher than maybe what the situation actually is. A lot of times they have some underlying beliefs as it associates to their ability to handle these situations, so they're underestimating their ability to cope in those situations. And so through all of this, the exposure is really working to identify their thoughts, their behaviors, and their emotions, and really work to challenge that through exposure-based exercises to really work to restructure and reform or challenge those maladaptive beliefs. So with the patients, I work to create what we call a fear hierarchy. So it goes from least to most distressing stimuli. So a lot of times the way that I prefer to confront things in sessions is to work from a gradual exposure standpoint, where we're going kind of step by step up this ladder of confronting these situations. And so we move to the next level whenever the level prior to has reduced a tolerable level and the situation is no longer producing significant distress. We then move to the next level and continue like that up the hierarchy there. So through all of this, we are teaching response or ritual prevention, where they are not engaging in any of those checking behaviors to minimize their anxiety. They're more sitting and tolerating the anxiety that it brings about versus doing something to eliminate or counteract that anxiety. For more information, you can give us a call here at the Cognitive Behavior Institute at 724-609-5002, or research us or look us up more on the website, which is papsychotherapy.org.